All right, so we are live. I'd like to thank thank and introduce Madison Auburn for coming on. She
Hi.
was kind enough to join us on the last outing we just did last weekend. Eric Togel, thank you for joining us again. Also, this time I actually got to experience the Volvo firsthand, touchy-feely kind of thing because you were along with us also. A group of us through YouTube and Facebook met virtually. Madison I met through a mutual friend. And then one day she made the mistake of making a comment on Facebook about camping. And from there, I was all over it. No, we're going to go camping over here. No, you're coming with me. Don't go over there. Eric reached out to me and a few others, and we ended up coordinating a spot to go camping together, even though none of us had really spent that much time together. But it turned out, in my opinion, to be one of the best experiences I had had camping in a very long time. So one of the things to kind of bring this story a little bit even deeper, if you will, is when we were in Willits, filling up all of our gas cans in our vehicles, Daniel, which I hope you're watching, Daniel. Hi. Daniel comes up to me and says, I was just watching you on YouTube last night, watching you, and we're heading up into the forest right now to go check things out. And so we all kind of looked at each other like, well, this could go either way. So we decided to let them follow us up. When we went up into Willits to 162, headed east until we went through Covelo and up into the Mendocino National Forest up off FH7. From there, we weren't really too sure where to go, so I had a few places in mind. We ended up stopping at some of the spots I've shown in like 3 episodes ago, Where's Your Pin, and then headed down to the water spring. And that's where we all had a better chance to actually talk, because before that it was all on handheld radios. Remember that, Madison? Like, we were getting to know each other via two-way radios, 5 cars deep?
Yeah, at first I was like, this is so silly. And I'm holding the mic and listening to everyone. I was like, do we really have to do this? And as soon as we got into the dirt road, I was like, I'm so glad we have these walkie-talkies. I was like, you guys are so smart. And here I am thinking we were all foolish.
Was going to be one of my questions. I think I asked you both on this trip was, I found this trip to have the most abundant amount of dust. I don't know what the right phrase is. Huge amount of dust. Everywhere we went it was horrible. But the road was buttery smooth. So for me, having the truck and carrying everybody's fuel, my own fuel and all my own gear and a trailer, it was butter. But yet the dust was terrible. I personally would trade having a rougher road and less dust, because out there I like to enjoy the view anyway. Let's start with Madison. I'd be curious about your thoughts. Do you want lots of dust and smooth, or really rough and no dust?
Well, it depends. Am I in my Eleanor, my Honda Civic, or am I in an off-road car? Because it was good for me for now because I'm in a car that is not meant for off-roading. So it was perfect for me. But if I were to have like one of y'all's cars, I would definitely pick rougher, because rough is more fun anyways. And, like you said, the view would be nicer without the dirt. Because everyone was like butt to butt. And I was like, we should like separate so like there's not so much dust and we can see everything. But it was
but the only issue is when you go around a turn, because of line of sight, the radios don't work. So it's that like, you gotta be really careful, because I think I almost rear-ended Eric twice. I know several people I almost rear-ended because of the lack of seeing, but I didn't want to be out of contact, nor did I want to miss any of the moments of excitement. Yeah. Eric, what would you like more of, the dust or the rougher road?
I don't mind the bumpy road. Yeah, dust gets annoying. That dust was just the fact that they had just graded those roads, and stirring up the dirt to make it so smooth, it kind of pulverized and left it kind of flour in places. So that's. I imagine after a rain or two that would calm that down, and the road's still pretty nice and smooth.
But essentially, the answer I love the question. You broke up for your answer. I said, I'm trying to get to the essence. You would enjoy a rougher road and less dust? That's to slow you down? Cool.
Yes, I would.
Just so we're clear, we're talking about FH7 from this point on. They have, best I can tell, when I left, the grader was at Plesket Meadows. As far as I know, they've graded the whole thing all the way across. It's butter smooth. And like Madison said, she brought her Honda Civic. Yeah. All the way in. We ended up staying in Board Tree Campground. And she made it the entire way there. And then ended up making it.
No problem.
That's great. And then we also, all of us ended up continuing all the way down to 162 onto the I-5. So that was a cherry popped for me to keep riding that edge.
Yeah.
But we laugh because it's one of those like inside joke things when you're stuck on the radios talking to communicate, because each person from each household was in their own car so that we could distance and all that kind of jazz. But when you're stuck talking on the radio only, and it's like, you know, each person's in their own car, you get bored, and edging became one of the running jokes. I got sidetracked. One of the reasons we started plan A was to go to Board Tree because we heard rumor you could have a fire there legally, a wood fire, which is true. It was posted with signs saying you could have a wood fire with a campfire permit. So that's why we chose to go there. And I'm going to keep talking until Eric comes back on, because I actually had something else I wanted to throw up, but we'll get there in a bit. You guys, okay, so and a couple of questions we'll answer real quick while we're still waiting for Eric. Hopefully it's not the airplane mode. How long of a drive was it out there? I don't know. I didn't time it, but I think it was around 4 hours. Did it seem about right? Because we had to stop and air down tires.
Yeah.
Stop and top off like 10 cans of fuel. So I had 2 diesel cans and I think like 6 or 7 gas cans.
Yeah, it took a while.
And towing, we can't go all that fast. Eric, one of the questions is how long do you think of a drive it was? And I'm going to go off of, let's say, Sonoma County kind of generically. I said about 4 hours with airing down tires and getting fuel.
Like getting from home to our camp?
Yeah, Board Tree.
Yeah, good estimate.
How long to air down? Well, that's per person depending on how far down you're going and the tool you're using to air down. If you use something from like ARB where it removes the valve stem, a couple of minutes at most. Whereas if you're using a basic tire air pressure checker, it's going to take a lot longer. Spring, let me know. Okay, so next time we go up near the spring, Mark wants us to let him know so we can go on his BMW motorcycle. So back to the spring. What did you guys think? Have you ever been to something like that?
No,
they both shake their head. Should I just point at one of you, because neither of you knows who I'm pointing at, actually. I'd love to hear what you thought when we pulled into what looked like just a tiny little turnabout, and then all of a sudden there's this lush green grass and flowers. Madison went first last time, so how about Eric take the lead on this one?
I've only been to like hot springs. I've never been to a spot that is like, watery, fresh, you can drink like that. So that was quite a trip, and I'm still drinking and enjoying it right now.
Yeah, it was tasty, huh?
Yes, it is.
So that truly, to me, a little gem in the forest, if I may. Madison, what did you think of? Cheers to you. That I got mine right here. What did you think? Have you ever any stranger you met at a party from a mutual friend taking you out in the middle of nowhere to a water spring and said, "Drink that"?
No, I've actually never been able to like drink fresh water like straight from the ground, so that was real nice. And then drinking it all weekend, and then I got back and I had like my Brita water, and it's just not the same. So it's kind of like, I mean, I loved it, but also now I don't have it, so I'm a little bit bummed about that. So I'm gonna go back before I leave.
Yeah, I'll bring you some because I think I'm down to 42 gallons. I'd be glad. I brought back all my containers full. Every time I bring back some, I'd be glad to bring you a jug. So at that point, if I remember correctly, that's about when we said that Daniel, his dad, could just basically stick around with us the whole weekend, right? That was like, okay, I think this is working. Let's take him home with us. Can I bring him, Dad? Sorry, my lame attempt at humor. But Board Tree was really cool. I'd never been that far east on the 4th Highway 7. And then I think it was, let's see here, Saturday we did our first outing, our first road trip, if you will. Is that correct? Because Friday we went up. And that's the day the Crown Victoria showed up. What was his name again?
Michael.
Michael Baker was in the Subaru, and Shell, his wife, and David Schilling was in the Crown Vic. And
thank you.
And Michael. There were 2 Michaels.
Yeah, we never did number them or give them like an A or a B. Because at some point there's going to be 2 Dylans, and I'm going to have to choose to be A or B or 1 or 2.
There's also Michael in the Subaru, or is that the second Michael?
That's the second Michael.
Okay. It's okay. So on Saturday we had 3 Subarus, the Crown Victoria, the Volvo 240, and the Tundra, which I don't know what year. And then we had my Chevy. So that makes 7, yes, I believe, in our convoy. So from I think it was around noon, we convoyed at the Forester and the Crown Vic met us at camp at around noon. I think we departed around 12:30, and headed out as a group. And that was crazy. I think that's when I came the closest to actually hitting somebody, even though at several points I was pretty sure I was a couple hundred yards apart. Wasn't enough, but we went down 22 and 21, I believe. That was on the northern side of the mountain from FH7. That one was kind of fun, but I felt like it was too fast and too dusty. I felt like we were just driving in a dust cloud all day. Did you guys kind of feel the same way about the first day?
Yeah, sometimes it got a little bit overwhelming, and then just trying to take turns at who could get in front. You know, it was kind of like, I mean, it was fun to be in front, but it would be nice to be able to see stuff the whole time.
Yeah, and I think obviously with more cars, made more dust, and then getting a little rowdy here and there, kicked up extra dust. Just
we did a lot of edging on Saturday.
a lot of edging. And,
you know?
I tried to do a few to play around a little bit too, but I always forget about turning off trash control. Turn off trash control. I always think
get slideways.
Yeah, right. It's always fun. It's a 60% driver. How far are you going to commit? I want to go real far. So Mark says he drank the spring water all weekend, and it was great. They ended up in a snowstorm that weekend. So I believe, if I remember correctly, that was end of April. I think you guys went up there, Mark. I believe that's you guys, the group I met in Santa Rosa when I was doing a drone shoot. So one of the questions a quick question for you, Madison. How much experience do you have in camping? Is it more KOA or like state campgrounds, or more national parks or dispersed camping?
Just different stuff. We didn't like really do. We never had like a tradition while camping. Like one time we slept in a cabin with no electricity. Another time we camped in Joshua Tree. Sometimes we had nice cabins. Sometimes we just had a tent somewhere in the woods. It was just always something different, but I haven't done it in like, I would say like 5 years. So it was, and I've definitely never had it with a group of strangers. It's always been the same group. So it was very different. And someone who knew what they were doing. We weren't like like outdoor men, you know? So it was very different.
A couple times, but even myself, I've been in that area quite a bit. But everywhere we went, let's see, Sunday and Monday, that was all new to me. I think even Saturday we went somewhere new to me, but most of that I'd seen. But the other two trips, which we'll get into a little later, wow, man, talk about an adventure! Holy cow! Sunday, Monday wasn't that much, but Sunday we got off to a late start. But wow, did it turn into an impressive, like, whoa, what's going on here? Oh my God, is my paint going to be okay? Is Eric going to make it out? You know, I was like, oh. So I'd be curious if we asked you out again, go with us for that kind of terrain, that kind of camping, Madison. Because I felt like, if I remember correctly, Friday, Saturday, like we hiked in the moon without a flashlight, and I don't remember wearing coats.
Like, wearing what?
Wearing coats. I remember it being very like nice temperature the entire time.
It was so beautiful.
We got pretty nice weather.
Yeah, like I said, I was really uncomfortable wearing pants in the tent because I was like, it's just too much. It's just too nice. You don't need it.
Yeah. I felt we got real lucky on the weather. It actually changed Monday afternoon. The wind shifted the other direction. So every time somebody went by on, what was that, 312? Yes. The wind did come through camp. So it was worth it though. So Mark says that was correct. It was that group. So remember how I met Daniel in Willits? Same thing with Mark, who's commenting right now. I was flying my drone downtown Santa Rosa, and they were headed up into the same area and had seen me on YouTube a few days prior. So it was a roll up, and hey, I was watching you on YouTube. So yay, internet famous. Small world kind of thing. I loved it up there. I thought it was fabulous. I think I commented to you guys, to me, certain parts of it, it was maybe, I shouldn't say certain parts, only one small part really had a feel of kind of like El Dorado without the granite. The temperature was low 70s, and I think it was high 80s when we left Windsor here. And the trees were stunning. The other thing that was really nice that stood out to me was the colors, the contrast between the yellows, the maroons, the greens, the yellows. I had spent, I think, 45 minutes with my drone trying to capture the flowers, and I pretty much failed miserably. Did you guys enjoy the area? Was it good? I mean, compared to BLM where you went last time, Eric, what's that like?
This was a whole different forest. This was a true forest. That was beautiful. Roaming the trees and driving down like the path. I got stuck on. The grass is taller than my hood. It's kind of fun driving around. That certainly wasn't Dusty Hill. So it was lush. It was great seeing all the lushness out there and just green as far as you could see when you had the views.
Yeah, being able to just like really just walk to the edge and just look at just everything. It was very different. And our bathroom view wasn't so bad either.
I know, right?
It's so good.
It only took all of us to plan that one out. So before I forget, before we lose you, let's talk about the fireworks. I'm going to just do a screen share here. I think it's this button. And then I go here. And then I go here. I know you weren't there, Eric, but I wanted to talk with Madison about this before she goes. So Madison, myself, and Dino went up here the night of the 4th of July. If you look on your map, it's late. Can you guys see this? Should make sure that this is actually displaying my screen here. Yeah, okay, there we go. On your map, it's called Ocean View. The true ocean view, if you will, is this one here, where it looks west, and I'm told on a clear day you can see the ocean. The view I saw from right there, I buy it. On a clear day, I bet you can see the ocean. But then over here, just slightly further away, I guess it'd be north, for lack of any other phrase, up this 312 away from camp, is on here it's called what? Brushy Mountain, but it looks east. And so the three of us watched the fireworks from, was it Willows, Orville, Williams, and a fourth city simultaneously while sitting up here. And if I scroll out, look how far out we were to see fireworks. So we were seeing, Willows, Orland, Corning. We were seeing all of these fireworks from that red dot right there in the center of my screen, which to me blew my mind that we could do that. And Madison, I don't know about you, but I thought I saw some what looked like just basic mortars even going off, not even the big ones. What did you see, think, feel, experience, all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, I don't know the difference between fireworks. I just know I saw 4 different towns going off at the same time, and it was for like 45 minutes. And like you said, it was so far away. I couldn't believe it. And as strong as the moon was, to be able to still see all of that when the moon is so in your face, I was highly overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And Hammy did pretty well too. He was into it.
Yes, we did have a dog along. Oh, 2 dogs, because Daniel had his dog also. We had 2 dogs along on the trip. And there's the other part of the story that comes to my mind is the fact that there were 2 deer that seemed to be pretty unintimidated or not scared of people. 2 does. Eric, I think you got fairly close to one. I have a picture of my son that was throwing pieces of, I don't know what, actually. I probably should have checked now that I think about it. Piece of bread or something. I got a picture of him pretty close to it, and some little snacks I lined up. I got some cool shots. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it came really close. When you guys went up to the peak that night, I was hanging out there, and it came right up to me. Probably 8 feet. Hung out for a good 10, 15 minutes.
And he tried to, I'm not going to say what I said before, but he stopped us from being able to shoot more guns because he walked right behind the targets and just sat there like. Yeah.
So we were target shooting with on a dead fallen tree with a dirt backdrop, and the deer was so I don't know how to describe this. We were shooting shotguns, 45 9mm and 22s, and the deer walked behind our targets. So we called a ceasefire and tried to not push it physically, but like, hi, I'm over here, hello, make a bunch of noise, crunch, 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 crunch. And she just walked further and further into our firing lines. So we ended up, as Madison's saying, we ended up having to call a permanent ceasefire because the deer wouldn't leave the shooting range. So, and it was a doe, just to be clear. Did you guys see any deer? I saw 1 4-pointer on Tuesday. Did you see any?
I think I saw one, definitely. I think I saw more than 2 ears, but it wasn't much of a buck, if that's what it was. I think I did. It was quick flash, though. But other than that, no, just does.
Madison, just a doe, no bucks? Okay. No. This time of year, I'm going to start getting flooded with questions. Where's the bucks? Where's the bucks? Where's the buck? You're a hunter. Go figure it out. No, there was run. The one I saw was at 312 and FH7. I don't know the time of day. It was the evening, but it jumped across to FH7 and was on his way. So back to my list, if I will. I'm trying to bounce back and forth. I'm trying to think of stuff that I want to make sure I cover while I've got Madison on the line, because I just kind of regurgitated a bunch of stuff onto Google Docs, and then when let's see here. So all of us have done the I-5, the F-162. So Madison, you've proven that it is possible in a car to make that entire trip. We talked about that one.
She's a rock star, man. I'm in love with her.
Well, that's good. Keep it around. I mean, if it makes it, it makes it. Again, it comes down to mostly the driver, because you even made it into the top of the hill before you head down to the water spring, which before I've had issues with. One more thing that as many people should know as possible, it was emphasized to me to remind people today that you're on federal land, not state land when you're out there. The reason I'm saying this is smoking pot. It is technically a felony out there, and they do enforce it. Apparently a little more enforced than I was led to believe. Not that I went for any sort of like Google forum or anything, but my 30-something years of going out in the National Forest, I've never run into a problem. I've never heard of a problem, but it was asked that I mention that by the way, just because you're within the state of California, you're physically standing on federal ground, so federal laws apply, not state laws.
Wow.
Has anybody got a problem with me?
If anyone asks, that's exactly what I said.
It's all in the ears of the perceiver, right?
That was very funny. So much confidence.
Yeah, you did. And so, at this point, I want to kind of keep going on like the whole main story and start talking about maps and locations. So I guess I'm just going to go with that with Eric, Madison, and wherever you want to chime in with your thoughts while you've got time would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought I might share. Yeah, you guys remember the little video I did on Facebook where I'm talking about what's going on and you guys are chiming in on the radio? I was going to play that real quick if you don't mind, or at least a portion of it. But yeah. I got to press that button. This button. When I'm big time YouTube, this will be a lot easier. And I don't really remember.
We've taken a little detour off the way we wanted to go.
Is that playing okay?
Dead end, another route. We want to go back. Behind us is you.
Can you guys hear that?
So you
kind of
decided to head down, continue down the trail that I decided to opt out.
Yeah, let's go look.
Great.
Okay, well then we'll just cancel that. We won't go with that. I opted out of continuing.
Oh, a bummer.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd try. And then you got this mirror image thing going on the screen here, but if I go back and remove that, then that goes away. I was hoping to play that because I kind of like the dialogue where I'm explaining what's going on, and Eric's like, okay, I'm going to give it another try. And that's where you're like, thank God. We were there waiting for you for like an hour, hour and a half.
I think it was like 2 hours.
I made a couple attempts at that hill, and then when after that didn't go well, and we tried to find another way around, and then that's when we found there was no.
Why don't you kind of explain what happened, Eric? Because I turned around. I did not want to scratch my vehicle, so I'm the one who put my tail between my legs, and I went back to the top of the mountain and hung out right there. But you all kept going. Now, Madison, you were in a Subaru that was lifted with all-terrain, so forgive me as I wasn't too worried about you. Whereas Eric here is in a 240 with an open differential and no lift and all-terrain. So, Eric, I mean, start from going in. Like, what was going on?
Well, I led the pack, and obviously our plan was to explore every trail in the area. So that's what we were doing, and that was one of the last trails that was to explore as we got to our camp. And we kept going where we were now past what was on our maps. And so we didn't know where it was going or what it was leading into. We just knew there was a trail ahead of us that wasn't finished yet. And also we want to keep exploring. And it was some of the most fun, challenging bits I've been through. And it was really fun driving down. I had no problem going down. And since I hadn't had any troubles anywhere yet, I wasn't that worried about getting back up. I knew it would be a challenge, but You only know until you try.
So
Or you don't
you
know until
didn't. I saw the picture on Facebook where you're being pulled out, and it looks steep enough that I would be going down it, going, "Oh, gee, I don't know about getting back up this." You didn't have that like second thought moment.
I wasn't worried going down. No, I was having so much fun. Like I said, I hadn't had trouble yet, so it just wasn't in my mind that I could pick up that.
So, and if I remember, you said that's 21N40, right? And that does not
Yes.
on the map because I'm trying to show people what we're looking at, but I'm only finding the 21N41. I'm not finding the 40.
With by number, but it is on the Mendocino National Forest map.
Well, I can at least show like the general vicinity kind of thing. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I didn't see you left. My bad. So if I go back here, share. This at least shows the general vicinity here. Where was that? This one? Because we started up near right in here, this bushy mountain area, and then just explored. What was the key phrase? Like no road unturned or no stone unturned or something. Every road we saw, we took.
Yes. Every single one of them.
And you mentioned Hunter Ridge. No, I say you mentioned because you're far better at maps than I am. I'm really good at like coordinating people and cooking meals. Well, that's actually not true, really. But you were really good at reading the map, so that definitely got you to lead the pack a lot. Hunter Ridge. I remember us talking also about Spanish or French Ridge and Spanish Ridge. Eric. Uh-oh. Okay, well, somewhere in here, we all just have to cover for him impromptu here. So we started this 312 was the hint was given to us to try out, and we went up that, and then every single road that we saw, which you can see, there's more of them on the map or on the satellite view than actually show up on maps. See here, there's these, but when you zoom or go back to regular maps, this one's not on there, and some of these are the most fun. I could be wrong, but this looks similar to the same section that where we flew the drone. I was really hoping to show that clip where we flew the drone while you guys were all driving. That was an awesome clip.
Can't wait to see.
Are you there?
Road. Absolutely. Use.
You there, Eric?
I'm having trouble with audio. Can you hear me?
Kind of.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing you guys. Okay, I can hear you pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
some amazing views on that road. That was one of the most.
let's see if I can go back to
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorites for sure.
here and then share and then go back to. It was in this one. So I was saying, if I remember correctly, Eric, you were talking about Hunter Ridge. I thought I remember you talking about that French Ridge and Spanish Ridge. We hit all those, didn't we? Or did we not? And of course, he goes quiet.
we ended up connecting between those two. Did not possible, but we did. We found it.
So if I heard you correctly, we did find a way to connect them because I don't remember. We hit so many roads. I was just glad to have GPS and then the paper map to get me home because for the most part, I only knew which direction, like north. I think it was southeast. I needed to head to get back to camp. That was the only thing I was going off of. That and you're using a Venza, if I remember correctly. I always have trouble keeping track because everybody's using everything. Daniel uses what is the one? He uses Gaia, and then another friend uses OnX Hunt. So I have some serious trouble. But at any rate, yeah, I forget which one that was, but that was an incredible view when we were driving along and we got the drone out. You could see that was probably where we were on Hunter Ridge overlooking maybe the French Ridge. But wow, that was quite a view.
We weren't on Hunter Ridge is where I got stuck. French Ridge was where we got to try and get out of Hunter Ridge, and that's where we had to turn back again, go back up Hunter Ridge.
Is that the one that was washed out?
Yes.
Man, you guys made it all that way?
Yes.
Wow.
We went far, and we were so excited because we could see the road on the other side. We're like, we got it. It's just going to take forever. And then we get up to the edge, and we're like, oh, no, it's a dead end. And I think Michael said, are you sure? We're like, yeah, I think we're sure that the road's washed out. So we had we decided to tow at that point.
Sure.
Huh?
It was like a straight off cliff, 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, it was kind of scary because we were going kind of fast.
Yeah, those Subarus can cover
could've
ground
been bad.
real quick, especially when they air down tires too. That definitely helps. That was a lot of fun. I'm trying to find these. I'm not as good on the Google Maps as you were with that Avenza app, because you definitely had that down. But there's some amazing.
One thing-
Go ahead. Eric,
One
what's
of the
that?
things I love about that Avenza on my app is it shows me where I'm at. You know, that's how it was so key. I always knew where I was on the map.
Knew what's
Or
going on.
like when we went off the map and we were exploring.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of exploring. What I was about to say was we were staying at this board tree campground right here, and we really, I mean, we covered this section of forest, which looks like a lot, but when you zoom out in the grand scheme of things, it's really only this tiny little fraction. But it took us like 3 days to do all that, which was, to me, pretty impressive. And then on, let's see if we can find them. Where is that? Here it is. So Monday, since you're still here, Madison, these are the train cars. I don't have any other view currently because I'm still transferring all the data off the SD cards. I've been doing it for almost 24 hours now. These are old retired train cars that were placed as bridges apparently when they were logging this area many moons ago. Now the current trek is in through here. There's a crossing right here, a river crossing, and then another one over here. And Eric, I don't know if you can hear me, but this is the second one. Look how close it is. This is where we put that the Osmo Action halfway underwater. It was right here.
I see. Yeah, I can't. We're right next to it. It's just hiding in the trees.
Yeah, it wasn't until I took my drone up 400 feet for 399 feet. I do have the limit set. That I was looking at this one, and I finally saw this one. And this one's actually even more like, it's been out of commission even longer. These are giant rocks and logs, whereas this one's K-rails. So not quite as photogenic either. But this was a fun little drive. You remember that, Eric? We did this little drive, the three of us. I think it was you and I and Dino.
That was a blast. Getting to do some river crossings, and yeah, it was fun. Great trail.
Yeah, and even your Volvo didn't have any issues. That first creek crossing's a bit much that I wouldn't take a Honda Civic over it, but you made quick work out of it with your little 240. But if I remember, it looked like on the map, this one actually, I can't follow it too well on here. Maybe if I, nope, it's not even on the map there. If I remember, it doubles back to FH7. Was that true, or was that another one? Eric?
Well, we found 312. Didn't we find 312 when we turned back?
We
led back to our camp.
Well, you were going to continue on, but both of us said no because it got too narrow and our paint was, better condition.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
A huge mess with the water. Not sure what's up with your audio, but it's kind of working. You can tell this again. I say this all the time.
Yeah,
it's a multi-million-dollar operation going on here. So the other place
fix it.
that I wanted to point out was that was really also a neat feature about Board Tree. Right below it, there's spring water. Now I don't know if this is seasonal or not, and you can't see it through here, but there's a pathway, a roadway that goes down and through here, and you can actually from here fill up your buckets for fire water. And then down in here, there's a little pond that had what was it? Little water boatman things, tadpoles, frogs, and a bunch of snakes.
Yeah, and my dog
cool.
jumped in it. Remember?
Yeah, I'm looking at it here, and it's all dried up though. So oh no, here it is. I'm just looking in the wrong spot. So maybe this is a year-round thing. It's called tanker fill on your Mendocino map. But right here, where I've got the pin, there's a pipe coming out of the ground, or not out of the ground, but it goes up into the hillside, and from there, the water goes out the pipe, and you fill your bucket for your fire water. The only downside to that is the road back up is extremely bumpy, and because I didn't have lids to the bucket, I couldn't drive the buckets down. We had to carry them back. But with bucket lids, they can be put in the back of a truck and then driven up, and then getting water to put out your fire is not an issue at all. One of the shortcomings of being this far out here is that you don't have access to running water. So if you want to be compliant with the having your fire permit and having a wood fire as opposed to a fire like propane, it's great to have water right here where you don't have to worry about it. This one, for some reason, I didn't feel quite as keen on drinking straight from the pipe. I don't know if you got that same opinion, Madison, but I was like, I'll just use that to put out fire. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems really off-roady to me.
And then the pond was definitely not something I'd want to soak in the afternoon. It was cool to look at and visit, but that's pretty much it. Do you have the same opinion?
Well, I did not like that pond because my dog thought it was land and fell right in it. So that was kind of stressful. And there were so many snakes in it. I was shocked. I've never seen so many snakes in one tiny little area, like naturally. So that was a trip. And I probably wouldn't have drank from it unless I really had to.
And these two roads, no, there's a road goes through in through here. I don't remember seeing one in through here. But the two roads, I did not see a way where I could get from camp in a car, drive to the spring, and then drive to the pond, and then back up this other trail and come on the other side of camp. If I remember, they were two different roads. Did you ever see one that connected? That you could drive to the pond?
Yeah, so if you go, so where Daniel's camp was, behind it is the route we were taking, but then there's a road right in front of him that looped around to it. I accidentally took it one time.
But I don't know that they connect. From the spring, I don't think, because you can drive from camp down to the spring, or from camp take the other road and go down to the pond, but I don't think you can drive to the same one on the same road. I'm hesitating for a moment as I'm catching up on some of the chat. I've been bad about not commenting on the X Country has joined us. Board tree. No, so they do not know, they don't connect. It also seems kind of weird, but whatever. Everything's kind of weird. Did we lose Eric completely? Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone for now.
I'm all on my own. I'm getting so nervous. You can tell my voice gets all shaky. So I think I had mentioned to you that it was Tuesday the deer got up on our table, knocked all our spices off, chewed on the label for our peanut butter container, which was fortunately glass, so it couldn't chew on the plastic and get through it. And then she tried to eat a cutie through the netting.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. But yeah, it's the first time I said that I've said that, or needed to say, yeah, I should have protected my food. Because several times in these live streams, the topic has come up of what do you do to secure your food from animals? And I say nothing, because I'm always thinking about bears or raccoons or something. I don't have problems with bears or raccoons up there. The bears are hunted, so they stay away. But a deer, I'm sorry, I'm still taken back by that one a few days later, that really I needed to string up my food, not because of the bear, but because of the deer. So anyway, if you stay there, be prepared that you got to put your bread away and all your other things, because she's going to knock them over. It's she gives you a good view and some good photo ops, but you want to keep your food, be careful.
Maybe it was the dog that was keeping it away, the two dogs.
Oh, very likely. Very likely. As soon as you guys left with the dogs, she was in camp like almost all day, because we were also the only ones there. I think Monday evening, the last RV left, and there was only, two of them one night, but yeah, the last one left, and I had the whole place to myself until we left Wednesday, and I don't know who came in after that. But to go into that, that's a good point too, to go into that place this time of year and find that it's empty and you don't have to pay for it and you can just have a wood fire with a permit. That's fantastic. I was so happy. I was glad that we had the propane fire, but I was very happy to be able to roast marshmallows on a real fire.
So what does it take to get a permit?
There's a link already in the description. You go in the link and you fill out a PDF with your name, your address, and then you're supposed to read this tidbit of information. And then from there, they give you a very, very, very basic, let's go back to, how do I get this again? Very basic questions about fire safety. And once you pass that, they email you a PDF that you can print out. Or you can, do you remember the prevention officer we saw in camp? You could ask somebody like him for a fire permit, and they can issue you one on the spot.
Wow.
They're free, and a park ranger could do it too, or forest ranger, not park ranger because it's not a park, it's a forest. You can get them from them for free. Or remember we stopped in Covelo at the Rangers?
Yeah, it's closed. Yeah.
You can get one there too. I got mine online, just filled out the PDF, and within 10 minutes I printed it out and had one. Oh, Eric's back. Okay, you there?
Yes,
can
hello.
You hear?
Sound better?
Yeah, that's better. There we go.
I can hear you.
We were just talking about fire permits, and I was saying that there's a link in the description already from the previous live stream, so you can get those. The permit that I really want to try and apply for is the harvest permit, because I want to go get elderberries. we found so much elderberry when we were out there. We probably tripled the amount I knew about, and I already knew about a lot. So I hope it's not too late to apply for that one. I really want to get one because they're ready in a month and a half. It's like the end of August. It's time to start harvesting.
What does this allow you to harvest?
Well, I would be asking for elderberries specifically. The elderberries, if you look them up online, they're extremely good for anti-inflammatory. So for like colds and flu, I harvested around here, but it takes me the better part of the day to go driving around to gather enough to support my family and a couple others. And then I basically boil it with a bunch of sugar, filter it to get all the seeds and pulp out, and then have this little reduction. And I've gone from getting sick like 5 or 6 times a year because I have kids to getting sick once a year. And if you look up how much this stuff is online, it's crazy expensive, but it grows wild out there. It grows wild. It's everywhere out there. From camp, I probably could have harvested enough to support my family for the year. I probably would have devastated everything in sight, but I would have had enough in that one spot. So for it to grow wild, it just seems silly to me to spend all that money, especially when you look at the bottles. A lot of the bottles, if you look at the percentage, it's actually very little elderberry, but they put elderberry as the, elderberry syrup. But if you look at the ingredients, it's like 10th down the list. So if you can get it wild, then why not? So I figured it'd be fun to get a permit, go up there with a couple families and go to these different locations and get enough for everybody, but still leave enough for the forest behind, because you don't want to devastate everything. The ecosystem needs it. So that's my little spiel about elderberries. I do have a video up about elderberries on my channel. I know it seems kind of weird. Guys got a video about fucking everything. Almost, but not quite.
You'll get there.
Yeah, someday. If I just keep posting, I'll get enough people at each gas station.
I've enjoyed homemade elderberry beer made from elderberries collected on Catalina Island.
Oh, well, that's quite a title and description.
Was it good?
Yep. My friends were living there, and one of his roommates had made some elderberry beer. Yeah, it was really good. It was, it was kind of tinted like the berries, and delicious.
I have elderberry wine. It's on its 2nd year. I have never had straight elderberry wine. I've never actually even made wine, to be honest. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. It's really expensive when you buy it online, so we thought we'd give it a try. Is there? I've got a couple more things, but nothing major. Anything else you guys would like to add about that area or your experience or the group you were with?
I just couldn't have picked a better group. It was so nice. I was nervous at first because, I'm a little different. So I was nervous that, some people might not mesh well with me. And we just all got along so well. It was really nice. Like me and Daniel are already planning on hanging out again. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
good people. So before I forget, the new trend that the new thing we're going to be doing for this is we're going to be covering more Where's Your Pin, but to get easier and quicker access to the pins, I'm starting a Patreon in an effort to support my channel to get help with fuel and other costs to go out and the amount of time. Like this live show has been on for 43 minutes. But I'm already about 4.5 hours deep in time with it. So to compensate for some of the time and the fuel, I'm going to be offering them up at a discount rate where you can just go on the site and you'll have access to every pin I ever talk about. Every location I have ever talked about, I will be putting in there. So you'll get access to a map with coordinates. You can click the link and get directions to every spot we talk about, including some of the ones we've covered this evening and some of the dispersed spots. I just remembered there is one dispersed campsite that I think Eric, you and I and Dino did turn around in, is as an example of a spot somebody else could check out about Where Is Your Pin. So you'll be able to get the pins a lot easier than watching the live streams. You just go to Patreon and you'll be able to just get them that way and have them digitally forever. So before I forget, let me go back to that spot. Let me see which map that was. I have like 10 tabs open. There it is. So I go back here.
All these beautiful camp with the creek right next to it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I did spend a lot of time on that one, and I did spend a lot of time recording that one. I flew it with the drone. I walked around with the Osmo. I did my best to get really good audio too. So we've got the 2 train car bridges. Come down the road. Again, this location will be on Patreon by the end of the week. But you go where it says this little S turn right here. right underneath these trees, there's a cool little spot. This is actually partially in the river, so I'm not really sure that I'd ever really want to stay there, but it still had a great vibe about it because I'm sorry, I have this weird paranoia after watching movies that I'm going to be washed away. And this is technically the creek, but right in here had a great view. The flowers right now, amazing. The water was deep enough you could sit in it, cool down. It was really, really nice spot. So that would be another example of a great dispersed spot to check out. But being able to go up and stay at Board Tree this time of year and have neighbors that were, what were they, 150 yards away, maybe 200? And that was it, just one, was fantastic. So
They were the
good.
they were the other end of the campground. We hardly saw them unless we were going in and out of camp.
Not only didn't see them, but never heard them. I never heard anything from
We
them.
smelled them one time though.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's right. They were cooking breakfast or something.
Oh man, it smells so good.
I don't know. Some of our meals were pretty good too, though.
Oh, we had good meals every time. It was really good.
We ate well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oops. How do I remove? Yeah. No, that was an epic time. See here. So for the pins for this one is going to be more of roads, an area to explore, and less about specific camping locations because we didn't scout out a whole lot of camping locations. It was more of covering ground and seeing new roads. Was what seemed to be the premise of what the crowd decided to do. So we'll be posting as many of the roads as I can. And don't forget, like Madison was asking about the, or I should say, I shouldn't forget to mention, like Madison was asking about the fire permit. I have all the different links for the Mendocino National Forest within the description already, even their phone numbers. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to call them. Things like, hey, where can I have a wood fire this time of year? Where we went, Board Tree is not the only one. Plaskett Meadows is another one, for example. And there are more on top of that you can go have a wood fire this time of year. So call them up and ask them. They don't bite.
But Plaskett Meadows was really busy.
Yeah, it was
If
packed.
you don't want a crowd, go to Board Tree.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought proportionally we'd have a lot more people at Board Tree because Plaskett Meadows was packed. And I get why. You got the vault toilets, you can have the fire, and there's fishing right there, hiking. It's all right there. I get it. But I thought we would have had more at Board Tree for sure.
Plaskett Meadows is one of the handful of places that's highlighted on the Mendocino National Forest map. So, along with Lake Pillsbury and other more popular places. So
It is.
I'm not surprised it gets a little more
From
traffic.
what I understand, they did some sort of media, whatever they call that, outreach a few years ago. They put a bunch of money into the area, the spot, and then spent a bunch of money on advertising to get more people out there. I think that's another reason why they stock the pond so often, is to keep people going out there. I heard rumor they stocked the pond the weekend we were out there, but all the fish we were reeling in were really small. My biggest was, I think, 12 inches. It was a good fish, but all the others I kept having to. Fortunately, they were getting lip hooked because I got a couple that were like 4 and 5 inches. I felt bad for even pulling them in. So I heard rumor they just stocked Plaskett Meadows. So if you're into fishing, that would be one to go check out, and you can just Google that one. Board Tree's on there also. Very easy to find. But yeah, the fireworks, definitely that would be one to go check out, that location. Even if you're in that area, it's worth stopping by, going up to 312, because it wasn't that far out of the way. What, from FH7 was, what, 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes at most.
Yeah, most, to the view. And that's quite a view. You can go from one spot to the other. It may not be like Anthony Peak where you got the 360, or Whole Mountain where you got the 360, but you might be able to see further from those two spots. One of these days, you guys will let me take you out to Anthony Peak.
Love to.
I know that's out of X-Country's stomping ground, but who knows? We can always stay on his side. The last thing I should mention is if you don't like going when there's a lot of people out, or if you are gun squeamish, go into the game refuge because deer season's coming soon. Just like to make people aware so there's no surprises when they get out there. Oh my God, they're shooting all around me. Well, deer season is coming up. I think it's in September. Rifle season opens. Archery season opens for the area we were in next month. When I was up there last year during archery season, there was very few people. It wasn't a big deal at all. But rifle season, I stayed away for the first 3 weeks. Didn't even go up there. So that goes to you too also. Rifle season, stay away the first couple weeks, unless you're going hunting. So with that said, the only other thing I'd like to say is I did end up getting my GMRS license. The last live stream we did was about two-way radios, and I got my license the day before we left camping. It was basically a matter of here's my name, my address, no, I'm not a felon, and here's my money. And I got my license. So now I can operate up to 50 watts with an external antenna. So next time we go out, when you guys get stuck, I'm going back to camp because I'll be able to receive you then. I ended up having to stay up on that bluff to keep you guys within radio range in case something did go wrong. I was worried that if we went back into camp, and I think you guys shared the same thing, that we might lose contact, and that could be all kinds of bad. And at least we may not have been close to each other, but at least we could talk to each other, and I could get to where I could reach out further. So
it's really nice knowing you guys are out there on the radio.
Yeah, and yeah, I would highly recommend you check out the if you're into camping, check out the radio videos we have, because they are like a spare tire. You pray you never need them, but you're glad when they're there. Or if you're out with a bunch of people, they're extremely convenient for big rock, you know, or riding on the edge, you know, things like that.
Edging.
Yeah,
If we didn't have the radios, when I got stuck, it would have been really challenging trying to choreograph that and get through that. The radios were key.
Yeah, it's almost equal to having the strap, because I think you'd mentioned at one point your strap had gone slack, and that could be all kinds of bad, you know, rip pieces apart. Well, you hope it's the strap and not the car.
Yeah, and I was trying to get Michael to stop, and I was pressing the wrong side of the radio, and stop, but he couldn't hear because I was hitting the wrong side of the radio. Oh, the moment was a little hectic. Yeah,
the problem with those bell fangs is they almost feel the same on both sides.
Yep.
Before I forget, if you've liked anything you've seen and you want to see, for instance, I was live streaming from that fireworks spot on, Monday night. I went up there, or Tuesday night, and live streamed from up there. If you want to catch live updates, hit the subscribe button, please. I do my best I even live streamed on the way home, just waiting to say hi to people, just because I like sharing what information I have. So if you guys will hang on for a moment, I'd appreciate it. But in the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you, YouTube, for watching. It's been a pleasure.
Right,